This video was directly inspired by the new ASA screenshots that came out yesterday. Should I be working on other projects that I've been pending and procrastinating on? Perhaps, but is it really an Afka video if I'm not delaying the other videos I'm supposed to be working on? But if you're asking what is an ASA, or what I'm even talking about, or who am I and why am I in your basement? No worries, I'll be answering all your questions. Maybe not some, but Studio WildCard has been producing a new remake for Ark Survival Evolved. This remake will be made on UE5, with new improvements that could have not been done before in Ark Survival Evolved. The remake is set to be released at the very end of October. That said, we haven't had a lot of information regarding the actual game, except for a few things. A major one is that only creatures and engrams that pertain to the island will be in the game until we get the other DLCs. That means no cryopods, no egg incubators, no Maywings, no Desmos, and no rock golems. ASA will definitely shake up the PvE and PvP meta, which begs the question, which flying creature will be the best? Why are my nipples hard? So here I present to you a list of every single ridable flying dino in the island. Let's get to it. At number 6, this creature kind of forgotten about. Me personally, I had never tamed it before until this video. And I was kind of hoping when I made this video that this was gonna be one of the better creatures that we don't acknowledge often, but that's not really the case. Even though it has a few gimmicks, such as 80% weight reduction on organic polymer, never heard of this one until this video, and the ability to land on water and restore stamina faster in the water, it doesn't really make up for much due to its slow and really lack of stamina, not to mention its weight, and the fact it can't pick up anything. It's a pretty easy tame, and it's a pescatarian, but it's also bullyable, so honestly, it's okay, I guess. At number 5, we have the Tapehara. Fight me on that pronunciation, I don't care. It's that. Nobody's talking about Tape Jara or fucking Tape Jara, whatever. You know, it's bullshit. That's it. That's all I have to say. Anyways, they can pick up small creatures and players, have more stam than PTs, and can stick to walls for breaks. They can also strafe, which most flyers can't even do. You can shoot from their backs, and also there's a passenger seat for another person. And surprisingly, I never realized this because I never really used it, but it's the only ASA flyer that's going to have a tech saddle. Until, later on. But sadly, they do have some drawbacks, such as being slower than PTs and having low weights, which might be attributed why they don't really get used in PvP situations. It's sort of a hard tame, and it's advised to use bolas and also a ghillie suit in order for them not to detect you. At number 4, we have a very iconic dinosaur. If you've played Ark for 5,000 hours or 3, you already know this dinosaur, and it's a Pteranodon. A true classic in the early game and mid game if you're playing PvP, as it can pick up small creatures and specifically players. It's the fastest flyer and is pretty easy to tame with a bola and a few narc arrows. Sadly though, these usually have low weight and consume stam very quickly. But despite all of this, it still secures a nice top 4. At top 3, we have the Argentavis, a very decent mid-game creature. With the ability to pick up medium-sized creatures and a small one in its beak, it's a pretty good dino to intercept farming runs in PvP. Mainly being used to farm due to their carrying capacities, they also can carry some of their own, with a 50% reduction to black pearls, crystal, metal ingots, obsidian, organic polymer, and stone. Also being quite the fighter with a healing response from eating corpses, has a lot of stamina, health, and weight. One of the few cons this creature has is that it's fairly slow, but besides all of that, it isn't actually that this creature is bad or has many flaws, it's that the things that are ahead of it are actually really good. The second to last best flying creature in ASA will be the Quetzal, as in the early days of Ark, was the GOAT, but nowadays has been overshadowed by other creatures and cryopods. As I alluded to before, this is going to be one of the few creatures that are going to be able to carry big dinos from location to location. This is due to ASA's removal of cryopods until the Extinction DLC. With incredible stamina and weight, you'll see people in early ASA building their bases in one of these due to their mobility and capabilities as a taming pen. Sadly though, this is the slowest rideable flyer in the game, not to mention its extreme difficulty when taming. It is recommended to use a Tepehara and long neck rifles. Let's move on to an honorable mention, which might change this whole list. Among other news, Studio WildCard have revealed that in December we will be getting the Scorched Earth DLC, and as you know, this is the progenitor of the 3 main wyvern types. In number 1, we have the flyer of all flyers, which outclasses every single flyer in the entire game, and is pretty insane that they're letting this stay in the island in the start of ASA. This creature is the Rhino Natha, with high health, damage, weight, and oxygen, and also the ability to pick up creatures as big as Rexes, which has untapped PvP potential, can cling to walls, has a 2-seater saddle, can strafe any direction, has a fear roar, can swim and land on the water, uses resin to move structures, shoot needles and other projectiles, and have incoming damage. Studio WildCard were also toying with the idea for the Rhino Natha having the ability to cook dinner, take the kids to soccer practice, do your taxes, and fuck your wife. Sadly, after Snail Games saw this, they demanded WildCard to not add it, as it wouldn't make them any money. Besides that, this tame is a very, very late game tame. It has a hard setup, which is a high level, high drag weight dino, and a grueling raising process, with 26 different cravings which you only need 5 of, and 7 days and 17 hours of raising the baby. When all of these requirements are met though, you are left with one of the best taming/fighting creatures in the whole game. It can delete any small European nation you put in its way, baby. All this said, do you disagree? Do you have another ranking for these? If so, leave them in the comment below. You might be noticing a lull in content. That is because I do have to admit that my phone is pretty old and small, and it's kind of hard to edit on CapCut. I wish that I could use another program, but I sadly have a Chromebook and, Adobe Premiere doesn't really accept that. Do expect more videos though. I'm pretty excited for ASA, and you seem to be too since you've watched the whole video. You should subscribe, you might find something you like. See you in the next one.